All right, sometimes you got to pivot. You lost internet there for a minute. That's okay. So we fixed it. If you want to see this full interview, you can follow us on our YouTube channel. Sorry about that. Let's see, Amanda, come back on, girl. So, technology is great, but it can also screw the pooch on certain things. Hey, Lexi, we'll see you next week with consistent internet all the way through, hopefully. Let's see. Amanda is going to hop back on right now, and we will pick up where we left off. So Lexi, while we wait for Amanda, is going to be our featured guest on Jess the Chat next week. Yeah, it's okay. Of course, we're going to start it over. It happens. Hey, there's Amanda. Okay. So, yeah. So just got to pivot. Things happen.
It's the way of the world.
Yes. As awesome as technology is, it can also kind of make things, make us screw the pooch. So I was just telling everyone, luckily we're recording this. So if you missed any of the great tidbits in the beginning, hit us up at Jessica Moves You. But let's get back to it. So you were telling us about your first photography gig. You were working in a restaurant. Your mom was a waitress, and you took pictures of leaves. Go.
So from there, the owners of the restaurant invited me to photograph their son's high school graduation. I got paid like $40. It was like the very first gig I ever had. I was 16 or 17 years old. And from there, I just started charging people for headshots and event photography. And it took me about 5 years and a few business classes in order to realize, like, okay, I'm charging too little. I need to understand my worth. I need to work on this skill set, that skill set. And that's what sort of pivoted me into marketing and advertising and branding and all of that stuff, because as I was getting my bearings in the photography world, I was doing side gigs for small businesses where I was building websites for them, running ads for them, before Facebook ads was a thing, on different websites, and doing graphic design for them. Mm-hmm. So it kind of just all happened organically.
Okay. So who is your cinematic, photographic, or artistic inspiration? Like, who's your muse that just like their stuff, whether it be photographs or art or architecture, like just speaks to your soul?
That is a tough one. I honestly can't pinpoint one particular person. Okay. 'Cause I pull inspiration from all kinds of things, especially now in life. Like, it could be TV shows, it could be a piece of art that we pass by on the street that's on a concrete wall. Like, it really all depends. I pull from everywhere. I can't name one particular person or thing.
Okay. So I see you wearing one of your awesome Design for Realtors sweaters. Buy, sell, invest. Love it. So tell us what made you decide to create Design for Realtors, and tell us about Design for Realtors.
Yeah, sure. So we actually recently changed the name to Design for Agents. It's probably going to take like a year for everyone to catch on, which is fine. But it actually was a happy accident. And I'll blame it on Alex. So, I became a real estate agent, pivot from photography to jumping into real estate with Alex, who is my fiance and business partner. Mm-hmm. And he was a real estate broker, and I was a brand new agent. And he had all of these daily planners. Like, he had one for like his affirmations, one for like his actual brokerage, and then one for just like tracking his like health and stuff like that. So he felt like no planner really did it all. And I told him, I was like, I can design something for you. Just tell me what you want, sketch it up on paper, and I'll make it. And so I made him the planner based on his sketches. And from there, I think the light bulb went off in his head where he was like, we have a product.
Yeah.
And we decided to throw it up online. We didn't give it any marketing, any advertising, nothing. We barely even mentioned it on social media in the beginning. It was just a digital download. But what we found was about 3 or 4 months into it, we were on page 1 of Google for that one digital product. We were like, okay, maybe we need to pay attention to this.
Yeah.
So from there, we got serious about it. We made the business official. We got a lot of requests from people who downloaded the first digital product saying they wanted to have a printed product. And so from there, we sort of, put it on pre-order, we got the inventory in, and we started selling the daily planner that is the Real Estate Agent Planner that we sell now. It's our #1 bestseller. And naturally, as we grew, we started having more ideas, and we thought of the buy, sell, invest brand basically. And we started off with t-shirts. Now we have hoodies, hats, leggings, joggers for men and women, crop
bathing
tops,
suits, because I saw you
bathing
rocking
suits.
those bathing suits over the summer, girl.
Yes, and I got so excited when I saw agents like ordering them in the wintertime from Florida and stuff. I was like, it's so cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what's that been like being a realtor, because you are a realtor and you're part of a real estate team, which we're going to touch on in a moment. But what is it like being a realtor and being a co-owner of Design for Agents and being creative? How do you manage to do all those things in one?
A lot of coffee.
Lots of coffee. Yeah, coffee. So I want to tell you, like, you are somebody that you're so open and transparent and genuine online.
Thank you.
And I feel like there's probably so many people that feel like, oh, Amanda's my friend. Like, I know Amanda. And like, I'll be like, oh, did you see Amanda? I remember like when you went and you got engaged, and I'm like, Ray, to my husband, Amanda got engaged in Ireland or wherever it was. And he's like, who's Amanda? It's like Real Estate with Amanda. He's like, who the hell is that? But I'm like, you put so much of yourself out there and it's so genuine. So I feel like people really relate to it. So just wanted to throw that out there.
It's actually been quite the journey. When I was in photography, I was not this much on social media. I didn't even have plans of being this open and on social media as much. But getting into real estate, I realized how important it is and how magical it can really be for your business, which wound up benefiting us not just for the real estate business and for the real estate team, but also for the e-commerce business. So just to backtrack to answer, right, I was like, oh, coffee is how I do it all. I have to give a big shout out to Alex, because he is very much a business automation, like he loves business automation. And if it weren't for that, I don't think a lot of the stuff that we do would be possible. So a lot of credit goes there. And then I think just the kind of person that I am, where I'm very forgiving of myself. And we try to be as realistic as possible with deadlines. And I kind of subscribe to the Gary Vee school of thought, where it's sort of like, I could be juggling 41 plates. Every now and then one's going to fall. I just have to make sure that the really important ones don't fall. Yeah. So that's pretty much how we get all that done.
All right. So now I want to ask you this question. This is not on my question list, but I know that you're back on your 4:30, 5:30 a.m. wake up. How the hell is that going?
It's actually going much better than it was when I took a stab at it last year. I will fully admit to the failure. I fell into the COVID came through. We couldn't do showings and stuff, and we were doing the whole virtual tours and all that. But best believe 4:30 was not happening. It was more like going to sleep at 2, waking up at like 8 or 9. This year, I taken another stab at it, and it's actually reminded me how much I loved it last year. I lost sight of that. But I will say that, full disclosure, I don't necessarily get a lot of work per se done during that 4:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. span. Like, I think a lot of people think like, oh, wow, you wake up that early because you have so much to do. And yeah, I have so much to do. That's true. But that time is really like me time. It's time for me to work out, to kind of decompress the mind, to do little nitty gritty tasks that are like personal, or like little things that is like, you got to get it done for the business, but it's not like a big project kind of thing. I use that time for that, and then also for, just following up with like the team and all of that, scheduling text messages and things like that. But it's going good. I'm hoping to finish the whole year at 4:30.
I think you touched upon something that's really important, because like us in real estate land, I think we feel like there's this perception that like I hate when people are like, oh, you have a flexible schedule. I'm like, I don't have a flexible schedule. I work all day long and I work all night. And when people call you at night, you have to say to yourself, well, if they're calling me at 10 o'clock at night, they're either nuts or they're serious. So I got to answer this call anyway. And we don't get like consistent time for ourselves.
Yeah.
We don't get consistent time for ourselves just to like do that decompressing and all that stuff. So I think that's really important. It's a good habit to have. I don't know, girl, if I'm gonna make that habit happen at 4:30 a.m., but I'm gonna try to make
Even
that
just 30
happen.
minutes. Even just
Yeah.
30 minutes earlier.
You know what? I have my Apple Watch and I have like, you know, my breathe reminders on there. So like
Oh.
that's a great app. It's free and it's like it like just vibrates on your wrist and it's like take a moment and do like a 90-second like just breath.
I need to
So
get that.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's awesome.
that's great.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I get through the day with smart breaks. That's what I call them.
Smart break.
It's like
So tell us
little
about what's a smart break.
so essentially it's when you have so many different things to do, and even for anyone who's watching this out there who doesn't have multiple businesses and maybe you're just a real estate agent, there's still a lot to do. There's a lot of hats to wear. So I think it's important to sort of like take 3 to 10 minutes even to just kind of like, okay, I'm walking away from the computer or I'm walking away from the phone, like let me shake it off and then move on to the next task or project.
Right.
Otherwise I'd probably go a little crazy, and I'll be honest, Alex, he's good at reminding me like, hey, take a break.
Yeah, it's important. It's super important. So let's talk about a major thing that happened in your real estate business life. So you went from being a broker owner, you and Alex were broker owners, you had a team, and you joined like a big box firm. So
Yeah.
I want you to tell us a little bit about what that was like leaving, having the autonomy, and what was your precipitating factor that made you take that leap and what it's been like since.
Yeah, absolutely. So be honest, it was terrifying at first. Especially for me coming in, you know, Alex was the only broker that I knew. The office that he had and he built was the only one that I knew. So I wasn't familiar with what it's like to switch.
Yeah.
He had familiarity with that because he had gone from exit to then starting his own thing. And he'd interviewed with other places.
Right.
And I remember my biggest fear with us moving over was, are we going to lose the brand? Are we going to lose what we built? And it turned out that it was completely like a false fear. And what really wound up happening was that no one kind of noticed. Only other real estate agents noticed, like, oh, you moved over to EXP Realty.
Mm-hmm.
And our clients didn't realize it whatsoever. We let them know for those that we had listings. And then as far as our branding in general, it literally stood the same. The only caveat was that we had to attach the EXP logo on there, and that, you know, there's a rule where you can't call yourself a brokerage or realty group, right? Otherwise, they were fully on board with us branding ourselves and doing it however we want, with whatever colors we want and all that jazz. So that was really great in terms of making the transition. And the reason that we actually wound up doing it was we're both very passionate about teaching. And we're both very passionate about the e-commerce business that we have. And we do plan to get married and we want to have kids. And we were kind of looking at our business like, how do we step out of it at some point, you know? And so we learned about the brokers that we switched over from, the brokers that we were switching over to. And we looked at EXP Realty and it was like, okay, let's really look at this. So we broke it down in a spreadsheet. And it was basically like 5-10 years out, life looked like. And it was looking pretty grim. It was basically that we would be working 24/7. There were times where we would leave the office at like 3 a.m. And a big eye opener for us was when we got a $60,000 commission and we were like, yay, 3 months worth of bills.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, what is this what we're living for? And then we used the spreadsheet to calculate what life could look like at EXP Realty, especially considering that our presence on social media has put us in a position where agents, even before EXP, they were like, when is Ian Alexander coming to Florida, to Canada, to upstate New York? And we're like, not in our lifetime. It's really expensive. We have to find other brokers. So just looking at it from a cost analysis perspective, and then what it would cost us brand wise, right? Opportunity cost in general, the decision just made sense, right? And once we heard it, we couldn't unhear it.
Well, you know what? And I think that's the thing, you know, everybody's strengths in real estate are different, right? So you've
Yeah.
got a really substantial following because you offer so much good quality content when it comes to education and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, having the ability to spread your wings, you can only do so much as a small broker owner at the end of the day, unless, you know, you're taking like that Sirhan approach where you've got, you know, on a slow month, you're closing 300 million in transactions.
Exactly.
So, you know what I mean? So you guys have a lot to offer as far as your education and your content. So let's see, you are a big believer in free education and you offer so much. So if you had to raise, if you had to pick a line of work, because I think we kind of spoke about this earlier, if you had to pick real estate or education, which one would you pick?
Ooh.
You make the same amount of money.
Same amount of money? I'd go with education.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's enjoyment to helping buyers and sellers 100%. But when you say real estate, right, there's two pieces to it because there's real estate on the client's customer side and then there's also the team, right? Educating the team, helping them grow.
Yeah.
So if you made me choose between like the team and like just being an educator in general, I'd be like, ooh, I don't know. But if it's just clients in general, I think we're at a point in both of our careers where we're kind of like, we would pick education.
Yeah. So let's hop in a time machine and it's 2030 and you're like, yes, I made it. So what does success look like for you? Business and
Ooh. Okay, business in particular. All right. Because I was going to say success for me is a little different. It's not necessarily monetary.
yeah.
But business wise, I would say that Designed for Agents is thriving. We are doing well over 7 figures, headed to 8 figures on Design for Agents. And we have the business set up to the point where we make big decisions, but we're not doing the little nitty gritty tasks anymore, for sure. That it basically positions us to be completely financially free. And I would say it's 2030, so that's 9 years from now.
10 years, 10 years. Like it's 9 years and 11 months.
Okay, 10 years, yeah. Definitely kids and married. But back to the business part would be the team. I think that because this year we hope to surpass 100 agents in total. We started with 9. We have we're headed towards 32 agent partners on our team, and so in 10 years, I don't even know. I would have to ask Alex. 10 years. How many agent partners?
Yeah. How many agent partners? What's the goal? Speaking into existence. This is your Instagram vision board for 10 years down the road.
150 producing agents.
So Alex says 150 producing agents. So it's different at EXP. So like you could have agents in general, but the actual producers are what like they count.
That's the reality in all. Like we have 27,000 realtors in Brooklyn, Queens, and Long Island, and maybe 1,500 to 2,000 are producing. So yeah, I mean, producing agents is a very important caveat.
Yes.
Let me ask you this question. So you've got this big team that you went from being you've been growing exponentially. So what do you feel that has been the biggest attribute to your success in growing your team?
I think the education.
Yeah.
Definitely. The education has played a very important role in the e-commerce business as well as growing the team. I think people finding us relatable, accessible, and then when they do come into the Ian Alexander family, they find that it's just the same as outside as inside, except that they get that one-on-one help and even more education, and we dive deeper than we do on social media.
Do you feel like do you have it scheduled? Are you using your Design for Agents planner to schedule like one-on-ones with the agents, or what's your team what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you know, like the strengthening, like do you guys go out to eat once a month?
Oh yeah, I can talk about that.
Because I saw you guys do like a lot of fun stuff, so I wanted you to touch upon that.
Yeah. So every Tuesday at 12:30 we have a team meeting that's like just for our, smaller group. Yeah. And then every Wednesday at 11 a.m. there's a larger group that we have a team meeting with, and that includes a piece of education as well as that Tuesday meeting.
Mhm.
Thursdays, we just decided, and we've been doing it. Thursdays, like every other Thursday, we go jogging together. I won't say where on here just because it's social media.
Mhm.
But if anyone's interested in coming jogging with us, you don't have to be part of EXP. We do that as well. And then we have a private Facebook group where we also put trainings into there
Mhm.
that the agents can watch. And then we have a Calendly set up. So I don't use the Real Estate Agent Planner Pro to schedule anything with the agents. I use Calendly. And so if anyone needs like before this call, I just got off of a Zoom with one of our agent partners who's in Florida, and she was having trouble getting her Facebook ads manager set up. There was something, it was disabled, the pixel wasn't working. So I helped her troubleshoot that. We got it done, and naturally bonding just happens
Mhm.
within there. And every month we try to do like a team event. So last month we went hiking in 22-degree weather.
Yes, you did. And I
Yeah,
saw it from the
it was
comfort of
very
my
fun though.
warm house. I was like, that's nice for them.
Everybody was sweaty.
Yeah, it's
It was
like that
great.
dynamic. You're like, it's freezing, and then you start moving around, you're sweating, and then you get cold because you stop moving. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's a vicious
It was
cycle.
exactly that. Yeah. And so we try to do, bonding events and things that are fun, getting to know each other even outside of the business.
Mhm.
Because I think one thing that we've learned is that every business is people business.
Right,
So it's important to like connect in order to make things work.
right. What would you say is the biggest mistake realtors make? You're all about education. So what's the biggest mistake realtors make, whether they're established or newbies in their real estate business?
Ooh, you cut off right at the end, whether they're established or
Oh,
newbie.
whether they're established or newbies and what they could be doing to do it better.
Mm. Ooh, there's so many topics we could go into on that.
Give me your
Biggest.
best. Give me your most important basic. It's a game changer. Do this in your real estate business.
Yes. I want to say, so ordinarily my answer would be around social media, but I'm gonna get really real here.
Get it
And
real.
it would be the single best thing that an agent could do to turn around their business, like today, whether new or experienced, is to follow up better.
Yes. Bringing
It's
us
not
to
the
real
fun
estate
answer.
church right now. The follow
It's not
up.
the fun, like glamorous, like, oh, social media answer, but it's the real answer that would change everything.
Yeah. No, and that's important because I think, a lot of times we think like, oh, I got to do more. I need to like rappel from a helicopter while being photographed for the gram. And sometimes it's like, yeah, but are you actually calling people back while you're doing those content photographies? Like, are you,
Exactly.
so it's like keeping it back to basics. I love that answer. It's so true. Yeah, like you've got to follow up. The follow up game for realtors is weak.
It's
We
so
and we
bad.
have to own it. We got to own
Yeah.
it. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think you talked about forgiving yourself. Like, what follow up is most important right now? And if you drop the ball, also being able to disseminate it out and hand off the client. I always like. I know
Yeah.
when I'm overwhelmed, if I've got too much on my plate, I'd rather hand it off to someone on my team and make sure
Yes.
they're getting fed off of it instead of me losing it all together because it's mine. Because I think a lot of
Yeah.
times we get that it's mine mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greed will get you nowhere.
Yes, ma'am. And ain't that the truth? All right. So,
Yeah.
what would you like to tell everyone that's watching? Because we've had a pretty consistent amount of people watching. Woo, 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 another successful live. What would you like to tell everyone to reach out to you or to follow you, or how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, sure. Ooh, hold on. Just decline a phone call.
Yeah.
I got to make sure I follow up with them after. So one thing I would say, so definitely on Instagram here is Real Estate with Amanda. On Facebook, Amanda Bojorquez, but you can find that through my Instagram account since everybody's on here anyway. But I will say, both Alex and I are an open book. If you DM us with questions about something like you want advice or have like a marketing or advertising related question, we're open. Like a lot of people tend to think that we won't reply, but we will. We just have to remember to keep checking that other box. And then the final piece is that on designedforagents.com, we actually have over 25 hours of free training that ranges from like how to convert buyers, how to earn $200,000 a year in real estate, how to, we have a whole free course on how to run Facebook ads. And I think a lot of people don't know that. So that's all accessible for free at designedforagents.com.
That's awesome. So we have a question on here that says, are there any brokerages that give you leads? So, I mean, let's go there. Yes.
Yeah.
Training. Okay. So do you get leads from your brokerage, or are you a self-generator of leads?
Yeah, so personally, self-generator of leads. I will say, so at eXp Realty, we have like an 888 number. That's sort of like an umbrella phone number. And every now and then, if a lead randomly calls that one just because of like a marketing mistake on behalf of another agent, those leads get round robined. So every now and then we get like a random phone call from there. And as far as lead gen, we use Facebook ads, which we pay for, not the brokerage. And you know, that's regular split. We also have the Making It Rain program that we utilize.
Making It Rain?
Yeah, that's literally the name.
That's amazing.
So,
I love it.
It is.
Make it rain.
Exactly. So the idea is that you pay anywhere from $250 plus per month, and they actually run Google ads for you. So those leads tend to be warmer than the Facebook ad leads. And then we do get leads that we generate from social media. But I will put a disclaimer out there. A lot of people think that the leads we generate organically on social media are from my account or Alex's because we're so active, and it's not necessarily true. Okay. Alex will get listings and stuff like that from his account, but our Ian Alexander Instagram at IA Realty Group, if anyone wants to take a look at that and like use it as an example for your real estate page, we generate leads there, and we don't even give it half the attention that we give our accounts.
So I remember, because you were fabulous enough to grace my office with the training, and you talked about the 80-20 rule. So do you apply that 80-20 rule to your work page, or do you only keep that on your personal stuff?
Yeah, so on the work page, I would say that we apply more like a 60-40 rule on like a good week. So we basically do property, person, property, person, property, person. We are going to implement a video content strategy this year. So we're hoping, or not hoping, it's planned to come out this week. So we're going to start to put educational videos out there for buyers and sellers on that page. But the Instagram stories is where we get human on there.
Okay. So we got another question from somebody watching. What's a good monthly budget for an ad to spend on social media ads?
That is a great question. I always say you have to think about how much business you want to come from those ads. So to break it down, think about it this way. The average agent, average skill set, is going to need 100 leads in order to convert one person, right? That's a 1% conversion ratio. Now, if let's say you want to close 12 deals in 1 year, that would mean that you would need 1,200 leads per year to accomplish that. So when you think about it in terms of cost, it would depend how much money you're spending per lead. And that's going to depend very much on what type of ad you're running, what the strategy is behind it, how it looks. Is your website strong in terms of being able to convert those leads? For us, I usually say, we recommend to everyone start off at $5 a day, test it, then incrementally, don't go from $5 to then $50. Incrementally raise your advertising budget, so that way you get a better understanding of like, okay, this is where I'm at, and the ad will learn as you raise that budget, and you'll start to get more and more leads until you hit that threshold of, okay, I need to spend this much to get this amount of business.
Okay. All right, if anyone has any more questions, put them in the comment box, because we are going to kind of enter our last stage of our fabulous interview with Amanda. We also have, are you guys on Clubhouse?
I am, but like not. I have it on my iPad. I'm totally an Android person.
Oh,
I need to get better at. Yeah, I am. I just got the brand new one. I love it.
Do you also have a BlackBerry somewhere in your house, or a sidekick?
No. We have a Nokia.
Oh, playing Snake on Nokia. Oh, you know what? Nokia reminds me of the Nokia stock that someone told me to buy. And I know that Alex and you guys were talking about trading. Have you been on that trading kick during COVID? Because I know every realtor has become a day trader during COVID. Are you guys day traders now?
I kid you not. When COVID first hit, Alex dove like straight into just like mastering the art of trading. He did do day trading for a while, but he did well. But the problem was it's so mentally consuming that once like real estate started picking up again for us, it was kind of like, oh, like this is just not mentally possible. So he opted to do like more long-term trades and swing trades. And what's crazy is he actually has raised our wedding budget. Like we started off with what can I say? It went up 24,000.
Yeah.
$24,000. He put it all into stock.
24,000 in that GameStop stock.
No, don't do that.
Are you?
But it went from 24,000 to over 50,000 now.
Woo! Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? Congratulations on that, because that's going to make you a serious dent now, because in New York, it's pricey as all hell to get married. So congratulations on that. Did you find, because I know that my husband and my brother-in-law, and like everybody around me was like, I'm trading. And I'm like, it's like almost like obsessive. It's like the slot machine, but the dollars are a lot higher.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, okay, so a little bit, let me ask you, what is the one thing you think that the public knows, they think they know, but they don't know about real estate?
Ooh.
And Alex can jump in and say hi.
That is what? You ready to come and jump in and say hi? What was your answer?
Hold on, I was about to work out.
Oh, he was about to jump on the Peloton.
Oh.
Come say hi.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Alex, how are ya?
How you guys doing?
Good. Oh, it says don't forget about TGE short-term capital gains tax.
Yep.
Which is going to be a killer.
Don't do that.
Oh, okay. Somebody put that on there. Hey, Rick. All right. So what's the one thing that, like, the misnomer, the belief that everyone thinks they know about real estate that they're so dead wrong about? I have my own opinions.
Consumers.
All consumers or agents? Or the public?
Yeah.
I think they think that it's like HGTV, right? That they're going to get that HGTV experience where they're going to have like unlimited options, or they can renovate everything with their budget. So I think that's a big misconception.
Yeah.
That they don't need to get pre-qualified or have any, there's no prerequisites to actually home shopping. They think they could just go out and do it.
For me, I think it's their understanding of how we get paid and what we actually spend to do what we do.
Oh, for
They
sure.
all think we're the monopoly guy. I can do your job. I watched $1 Million Listing.
That's cool.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
We all can't jump out of helicopters like Ryan Serhant, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, people be like doing you know what? My favorite thing is, and I talked about this last week, like, this is not being shady. It's just what it is. Like, like there's people in the industry that we know. We kind of know what we all sell. Like, I sell co-ops. People know me as selling co-ops and houses. But, and then there's some people that they're luxury agents. And then, but like, when you see like those agents that are just like trying to, and I was going to say fake it till they make it. But my last guest, Vicky, she was like, listen, you got to just put it out there. So, but when you see those like agents that are like brand new and they've rented the Lamborghini for the day and you're like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just stop. Just stop.
So,
just stop. Yeah. So I think that as far as, do you have any questions for us? Is there any questions you'd like to throw back at me? Because I know you asked me a question the other day online. So is there any questions you have?
Yeah. So I'll hit you. Yeah, you can go work out. Go ahead. So I think I'll ask you, I'll let everybody know. I hit you up in the DMs because we had a situation where another broker reached out to one of our seller clients and was like, oh, why didn't you use me? And by the way, your listing is like priced too low. And we were kind of like, okay, I feel like I know that this is against the rules, but let me just double check with Jessica Moves You because she knows a thing or two about the rules.
Oh yeah, for sure. That was...
Yeah. So there's ethics. Some of us have it, some of us don't, but they are the things that govern our industry. So yes, if you are listed with an agent, another realtor is not allowed to talk to your seller. That is interference. No, ma'am. No, sir. You cannot. If you have any questions, you come to me. If you don't believe what I'm saying, you go file an ethics complaint, or you make an allegation in the right way, but you do not contact my seller or my buyers or whatever. So yes, that is not allowed. You've been given the Jessica seal of approval to go ahead and file that ethics complaint, because you need to shut that down.
Yes, exactly. I have a question for you. You take on a lot of, or not a lot, it's a good amount, leadership, right? I know that you've been on committees, you've started committees, you've started chapters, or like played a significant role in that.
Yeah.
What inspired you? Like, what's the story behind that?
So for me, you know, my mom was a realtor, and she still is. And she was always very focused on like the real estate portion of it. And I used to be a social worker. So I've always been licensed as a realtor since I'm 18 years old. But for a few years when I was in my 20s, I was like, no, I need change. I need to do something different. So I was a social worker, and I used to just kind of, I think that like being a social worker and kind of getting involved in knowing the rules and what people could and couldn't do, and how to help people and put people in touch with the avenues of support, not only education, but like how to get help to elevate yourself. Kind of when I came back into real estate, it made me feel like, well, how do I do that as a realtor? Like, how do I know what's going on? How do I make change? How do I not just complain about it? Because I hate feeling like I can't make a change if I don't like something. So I started getting involved in the Northeast Queens chapter of LIBOR. And it was kind of funny because one meeting, we had an emergency meeting. I was just like a regular schmegular director. And they're like, we had to remove somebody. We need someone to take over the presidency. And I'm like, and there was people that had been directors for like 15, 20 years. And nope, everyone's like, drinking coffee and no one saying anything. I'm like, I don't know what it is, but I'll do it. And I swear to God, that's how I got involved. And then I went from there. I was the chapter president in Northeast Queens. Then I advocated with Sal Crafassi and some other agents in Western Queens, Melissa Gomez. We were talking about the need to have Brooklyn representation. So then when they asked me, when they said, okay, we're going to create a Brooklyn chapter, they're like, we need somebody to go create that Brooklyn chapter and throw support back there. So I was like, I'll go support it. And little did I know, I became the treasurer of that chapter when it first started. So then the following year, I became the executive secretary of the Long Island Board of Realtors. But all throughout that, my love and passion has been with being a NYSAR director, which is New York State Association for Realtors, and being a NAR director, a National Association of Realtors. So why those things are so important is because those are the avenues that make the change in our industry. We change rules, education requirements. We bring issues that are like, we have an issues mobilization force like committee. So if there's something that's coming on, like right now, something that we're advocating against is New York City is looking to pass legislation that makes background checks illegal for tenants, for landlords to do on tenants. So why is that a big deal? Because what happens if you are a landlord and you live in an apartment, or you have a 2-family house and you have children and somebody, maybe a registered sex offender, now you could be sued for discrimination if you don't want to allow that person to rent things out. So this, like there's a lot of things.
Wow.
We had councilmen that were advocating for putting a 20% flip tax against investors that bought and sold real estate in New York City within 1 year. So there was a lot of issues that have been going on over the last 2 years that, whether people realize it or not, like it takes us, those realtors that care, to really go and advocate and have those sit downs and lobby and really push forward legislation that first and foremost protects home ownership. And that's really what we do. We protect home ownership rights. We advocate, and that's what I found in leadership has been one of the most rewarding. Like, I'm part of the legal action committee for NAR, and there's 28 of us in the whole country, and we review cases where people come in front of us and they ask for funding and support and blessings because they feel like there was discrimination, and or cases against you know, different MLSs, you know, one agent to a brokerage. Right now, something that's been really going on that's been important on a national level is in California and New Jersey. They're trying to change the status of agents from independent contractor to employee. And if that happens, you best believe that 99% of the realtors are going to be fired, because the brokerages that are then going to have to pay for health insurance and all these kind of things. And then we lose our ability to really boldly write off things on our tax returns, because now we're no longer a 1099.
Oh
So,
my
you know,
goodness.
there's so many things that go on. So we do need people that are in the know. And if anyone's ever interested in becoming part of leadership on the local, state, or national level, they can reach out. You can hit us up on Jessica Moves You on Instagram, or follow us on our YouTube page. You'll see content on there. Amanda, thank you so much. This has been amazing. I'm sorry that we had the little tech faux pas in the beginning, but we picked up right where we left off. Thank you so much, guys. Make sure you reach out to Ian Alexander Realty Group on Instagram. Designed for Agents, or is it still Designed for Realtors?
Designed for Agents.com.
.com, and also make sure you hit up Amanda's page, Real Estate with Amanda. Thank you once again. I appreciate you guys so much. And if I could ever help, or if you need anything or have any questions, reach out to us. You know where to hit us up.
You got it,
Amanda. All right, tell Alex to say bye. Go work out. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.